Welcome in, everybody, to the live reaction emergency press conference needed to be held today with reaction to the Carson Wentz trade going to the Indianapolis Colts for a second-round pick in the future, meaning conditional, and a third-round pick in this year's upcoming draft. And as always, joined by 94.1 WIP's Tyre Hood and WHIP's Tanner Go Martin. Guys, how we doing today?
I was good till the trade went down. Just a regular snow.
Howie, he has my whole day messed up right now, Max, thinking about this trade. Can't believe it, but we're getting into that right now.
Yeah, agreed. I think we all had our days just going as usual. All of a sudden, like any other trade in the sports world, things happen quickly. And this one, not that it happened quickly, it probably took longer than we thought, right? Rumors came out last week that Carson Wentz was going to be on the move, probably towards the end of last week, even. And now rumors continue to swirl, and news comes out that Carson Wentz is going to the Indianapolis Colts, probably the only team that really had serious interest after the Chicago Bears reportedly backed out recently over this past weekend. So when you first heard the news, what's your first reaction and the first thoughts that kind of go through your head with this team and maybe our picks, maybe the other team and the Colts involved as well, with Frank Reich obviously going to take over that contract, especially with Carson Wentz and just his skill set and try to revive his career.
The very first thing I did as soon as the trade went down, I went to Carson Wentz highlights, man. Because I'm going to be honest with y'all, I am going to miss Carson Wentz and what he brought to this team. Like, he was the prototypical quarterback that everybody wants, that tall, 6'5", strong-armed, athletic quarterback that everybody covets in the NFL. And, of course, I'm going to miss that because he was a part of that 2017 Super Bowl team. And, it's unfortunate that it's come to this. But, it is what it is. But, honestly, I got sick and tired of hearing the back and forth about, no, he's not going to go here. He's going to go here. He's not worth this. And the trade's not imminent and things like that. I'm just glad it's over, honestly.
My initial reaction is that's it for Carson Wentz, a guy who Howie Roseman said he's looking for a Matt Stafford type package deal for Carson Wentz, ends up getting a third and second conditional pick. I know people are looking at that saying it could turn into a first. That's if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps or 70% and the Colts get in the playoffs, which is looking likely. But this is Carson Wentz, who suffers injuries every season. So you can't expect a first pick over that. And the Eagles gave the Browns 2 firsts, a second, a third, and a fourth to trade up in 2016 for Carson Wentz. So, Max, my reaction is that's it, because really, that's it.
Now, Tanner, you brought a good point. Yes, the Eagles did give up a whole lot to get Carson Wentz, to even trade up to that number 2 overall pick in the first doggone place, and to only get this, is very disappointing. But we still also have to consider, the person that they were trying to move. They weren't moving 2017 Wentz. They were moving 2019, 2018, 2017, and 2016 Wentz. Like, they weren't in 2020 Wentz. Like, they weren't just trading away 2017 Wentz. It was all of that into one. So the value just wasn't going to, it really wasn't going to be a good return, honestly. I knew that going in.
That's what I wanted to get to, the value, see, because 2 weeks ago, like Tanner mentioned, this was a contract that obviously throughout the entire offseason, people were probably unwilling to take. But then you come out and you hear the rumors that, Jared Goff gets traded and the whole Matt Stafford deal goes down. And you hear the package that the Rams were able to send away an Alliance guy in return for Matthew Stafford. And now you think about the Eagles hoping to get the same package. And even, 2 weeks ago, we hear about the rumors about a first-round pick, maybe from the Chicago Bears, a possible reunion with Nick Foles. Obviously, that deal never gets done. And now it comes out that this deal might not even turn into a first-round pick, and it's conditional. So Carson Wentz, like Tanner already gave you all the numbers, he's got to play over 70% of the games and hopefully make the playoffs. As Eagles fans, it's kind of hard pill to swallow because you don't want to see Carson go have success anywhere else except for in an Eagle uniform. But I think we're torn here. A lot of people are excited just to get him off the books and get his contract out of here. It is the biggest contract, cap hit in history of the NFL, and that's only previously set from Jared Goff just 19 days ago in that trade with the Lions. So $33.8 million cap hit for this upcoming season. And Howie Roseman, I just don't understand how it can go from being a first round pick and maybe even Tariq Cohen and maybe Nick Foles to getting a conditional second and a third round pick. I just don't understand.
Because the reality is they weren't getting that offer in the first place. It was just hearsay and it was a rumor. It was just
I can't take the cap hit. See, I can't take the 33.8 million cap hit and get a second and third round pick. It's just unacceptable to me, especially when you have a team that has an unproven quarterback behind him and Jalen Hurts. And I have a lot of people coming out and saying Jalen Hurts deserves the opportunity and he's going to take the reins as the quarterback one. We talked about this on the latest podcast and how we're not on the same page when it comes to Hurts, but he's going to get the opportunity. And Nick Sirianni, lucky for him, he doesn't have to deal with the headache of having two quarterbacks that could start. And now he just gets to focus on one and try to prepare this team for the upcoming season.
That's the issue, Maxie. That's the whole thing, man. Like that's the reason why you didn't get a whole lot of value back, not just his play, but his cap hit. Going forward, like what team is going to invest heavily in a quarterback that you got to pay this much after the season that he had and all the rumors that came out, and he still has an injury history. So there's factors going into why, this was the biggest, trade cap hit in NFL history. Like they had to get rid of him because the situation had just gotten so messy. And honestly, it stems from one thing happening, and that was the drafting of Jalen Hurts in the second round. It should not have happened. Now, I've been an advocate of saying that. However, I wish, of course, I'm going to wish, Jalen Hurts success, but it should not have happened in the first place. You should have drafted someone to bolster that defense, or you should have drafted another playmaker to help this offense out.
To me, I just don't understand a third and second round pick for Carson Wentz. You know that the Colts want Carson Wentz. Frank Wright, obviously, he wants Carson Wentz. Now, why not make the Colts budge a little more? It seemed like the Eagles, at this point, they were just begging the Colts to take Carson Wentz. Now, I understand we mentioned that, $33.8 million cap hit, biggest in NFL history. At least get something else back for it. A third and second, we're not going to stand for that. And, Max, I know us two are on the same side here. This trade it didn't succeed. And now we can only imagine what this team would be if it was Howie Roseman who was not the GM on this team. And if Doug Peterson was the coach on this team, now you still have that turmoil between them. But if both parties are gone, maybe the Eagles get a better trade scenario with a different GM, different coach, or the Eagles are able to salvage the relationship and continue and able to use these draft picks for different positions. Now, we don't know if the Eagles are now going to draft a quarterback in the draft. There's still a bunch of things left in the air. We're still talking about a quarterback situation with Carson Wentz gone.
Yeah, to me, it's mind-boggling that we actually are thinking about it. About the rumors coming out with Adam Schefter reporting that Jalen Hurts doesn't have this job. He does not have this job yet. He's going to have to compete, and they're saying, I don't know if that's going to be by way of free agency to bring in other talent, or if that's going to be by way of the draft or a trade. But I'm starting to get nervous with this trade going down that the Eagles might consider taking a quarterback with their number 6 overall pick, whether that be through one of the trade.
Dumbest things they ever do.
I just could not see it. I want to point out this blatant lie process here from Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman just 3 weeks ago when Nick Sirianni was introduced at the podium saying, oh, we have 2 great quarterbacks. They're both going to compete in camp, blah, blah, blah. And that's just blatant lies. And then not only 3 weeks later, Carson Wentz is gone. So I just can't get behind this organization. And for those of you out there who might be watching this saying to yourselves, well, Howie Roseman did the best he could with getting Carson Wentz out of town, and he got back the best value he could get. Let's not forget what the past 3 years have been like as an Eagles fan. The poor draft decisions, the terrible cap management, the broken relationships he's caused. Now even Zach Ertz wants out of town, and we all knew that was going to come as well. So all of that can't just be forgotten, and you can't just be like, okay, Carson Wentz is good. He's gone, and we got what we could for him. You can't forget what happened the past 3 years.
Right, exactly, Max. You hit it right on the head. The Howie Roseman and the organization lying. They're being dishonest. Howie Roseman said Carson Wentz was like a finger on her hand a month ago, I believe. And now I guess we're without a finger because Carson Wentz isn't on this team anymore. Nick Sirianni coming in here saying, I haven't really thought about the quarterback competition. That's a lie. You don't take your first head coaching position without thinking about who your starting quarterback's going to be. Just doesn't make sense. They're lying to the fan base. Now Howie Roseman's going to go out there. He's going to try to fix it with injured veterans at wide receiver, at cornerback, like he does year after year, doesn't fix this team. He's only trying to put Band-Aids on that are expired Band-Aids because they won't stick for too long.
But see,
I know we're going to have this. Go ahead, Jake.
That's the thing, though. With Zach Ertz, it's a totally different ballgame. Zach Ertz had a contract issue in the beginning of the season to begin with. So Zach Ertz was going to be a problem this upcoming season. Now, it did not help that he wanted a new contract, and he played horribly this past season. So, yes, with this, with this trade, I expect him to be the next player traded, to be honest with you. So I do expect that to happen, unfortunately, for Zach Ertz. Look, I know it's frustrating and it's irritating, but look, at the end of the day, Howie Roseman is still here, and that's the main person that's really pulling all the strings. That's the main person that is controlling everything, and that's the main person that we need to be concerned about, because that's the person that holds all the cards. That's the person that's going to say, this player stays or this person goes. Howie Roseman is the common denominator in this entire messed up equation. And until Jeffrey Lurie sees that it's Howie Roseman that's the issue, we're going to continue having these problems, unfortunately.
I want to end and wrap up with this point here about this upcoming upcoming draft, I should say, and talk about the guys that, we could possibly get. I know we're going to have the live draft reaction on our podcast, but I want to just ask you guys, previously, early months ago, I would say that, we thought, okay, this draft is basically set in stone. You have Trevor Lawrence going 1, you have Justin Fields going 2, you probably have the left tackle out of Oregon going 3, and then it's after there, it's a free-for-all. But I think it's been so much talk about this Zach Wilson, about him being taken possibly number 2 overall by the New York Jets. I'm certainly looking at maybe a wide receiver. I'm hearing Kyle Pitts' name out of the University of Florida as well at pick 6, and people are saying, why do we need another tight end? But I don't think Kyle Pitts, if you watch him last season in college, he's not just a tight end, he's a matchup problem all over the place. So when you think about where we're going with this and maybe the possible picks that we're going to use, is it all going to depend on what other teams do? Maybe Carolina wants to trade up for a quarterback, and is it going to depend on who falls to us, or are we thinking we're going to be the aggressors here and maybe make some trades, whether that be going up to get a quarterback or maybe falling back or staying pat, getting Justin Fields? Like where do you think our heads are at right now?
Honestly, we can get more into this, in our next full episode, but they don't have the assets to move up. Like, if anything, you're in a position where you can draft a playmaker that you can help out the current situation of your football team, whether that be on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. You need to take the best player available. That's not a quarterback. Put emphasis on not.
Couldn't agree with you more, T. Please don't pick a quarterback. I don't think that the Eagles are going to move up in the draft. And I think really pick the best available wide receiver or cornerback. I'm tired of drafting guys like a sleeper pick, like thinking Jalen Reagor is going to be better than Justin Jefferson and seeing how that turns out. It's ridiculous.
Couldn't agree with you guys more. I think a surprising thing would be a Jalen Hurts trade now and possibly acquiring more assets than taking a quarterback, because at this point you never know with this team. But I think we can all agree, take the best player available, and we'll see what happens and go from there. But guys, appreciate you guys tuning in here to the emergency press conference here, breaking news of the Carson Wentz trade to the Indianapolis Colts. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at the PhillyXP1, on Instagram at the Philly Experience Podcast, and we'll see you guys next week for our live podcast, streaming Tuesdays now. So check it out. Make sure you guys stay tuned for all the latest breaking news and updates.